Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another Brony Debates Live, and early, greetings for Easter, which will be tomorrow. Christ is risen. Now then, we're gonna have a fun night tonight, going through the hot takes and the questions asked by the Brony community. Remember, I encourage you guys to hop into the call and give us your take on anything. Just join the Discord server linked in the description and go in there and tell us what you want to talk about. It can be anything. It doesn't even have to be whatever it is we're doing tonight. It can be anything. Joining me, as always, is the gorgeous Princess Heather Blossom. How are you doing tonight, Heather?
Pretty chill.
Yeah, today's been a pretty chill day. So, let's see here. What do we got up first? We've got a community soapbox, which we haven't had in a little bit. You ready for this, Heather?
I sure hope so.
Alrighty then. First up, we've got the future of Brony conventions. Let's see here. It's been 5 years since BronyCon's closure, and there's something that's been pondering on my mind for a while that I need to get something off my chest, as I've still dealt with extreme grief and FOMO of not fully experiencing this con, that I still have battles of depression and even some suicidal thoughts that have been inconsoling on this issue. And with BabsCon closing soon, it sort of makes me concerned. Bro, do you know what a sentence is? With the Brony community or convention scene in general, as I desperately want to attend one fully in person, though I'm still confident they will still be around. At the same time, the future kind of gets me down, as there is so much pessimism about wanting to experience something as unique as BronyCon again. But what I've observed over the last 5 years has this one question going on in my head that I need to get clearance of. Clarence, is the fandom overall better off having current cons, like being under 1,000 attendees like Everfree or Harmony, or would it be nice to have a similar con like BronyCon pop up in the near future, as I think it most certainly can happen? Not over 10,000 people, but close to 5,000 in major convention center and a major city line. I got issues with that, but I'll get to them after I finish reading. I don't take lightly to capturing lightning in a bottle narrative, because the lightning does tend to strike twice, so it really is a possibility this guy's autistic as frick. But I also feel like there's a lot of factors plaguing a demand for a pony-specific convention of that scale, with the current bleak future of the overall MLP franchise, money and time, and our current political climate. Frick! I'm going to have words on that in a second. Fandom drama, I'm going to have words on that in a second. And the current internet culture, I have words on that in a second. But we've seen countless times of how trends come and go. So I remain in total optimistic position for right now. The overall problems is that a lot of people remain so much in the past and should have put more energy towards the future in order to continue spreading the passion for music, talent, art, and pastime pony spreading friendship and what it means to us all. Oh, what a horrible day to be literate, Heather.
Okay, so let's just break this down a little. So what the fuck were they even upset about? Are they upset that cons aren't that big? Are they upset that all this bad rumors and stuff come with cons? What are you upset about? I legitimately do not understand what you're trying to say.
There's a lot.
Cons? Are you?
There's a lot of thoughts going on here, and yes, I do have some questions too. So, firstly, if you're let's do some highlighting here. If you're having suicidal thoughts over missing BabsCon and BronyCon,
my gosh, this is the only thing you have going on?
Yeah, we need to get you some different hobbies, right? It's not like you're me and your life was sort of depending on this sort of thing working out. Frickin' the Brony fandom has shrunk. Nobody can deny that. And their demand for, there simply aren't 10,000 or 5,000 people, in demand for a pony specific convention. And I can tell you one of those reasons is that you can only go to the same panel so many times before you've seen all the panels. And what you're really supposed to be doing there is, regardless of how many people are there, you should be there to make friends and make connections and, experience the fandom in whatever capacity you can. And things may or may not grow out of that if you go with good intentions. So, right, we're not as popular. Now, BabsCon, I'm going to say BabsCon was never good. Heather, have I gone twice or 3 times to BabsCon? Twice. And
I think twice, yeah, at least twice.
And it wasn't good either time. And as I understand, they've only gotten worse. And then they had their whole freaking issue this year, just showing, like they were trying to tell everybody, oh, we got rid of all the old management that was causing all of those problems to make the convention not as good. It'll be a good final year. We're not going to be able to recover past that, but we can make this last year good. And then they proceeded to show that they were making the exact same mistakes. I have to sneeze. Hang on a second. Crud. It's not coming out. It'll probably sucker punch me in a second here. So I apologize in advance if I sneeze into the microphone. Anyway, let's see here. Brony conventions will still be around. They're probably not going to be of this size, but hey, how about Mare Fair? I mean, shoot, I'll even say
how about Mare Fair? We just go into plug in Mare Fair.
Yeah, there's we've talked about Mare Fair a good few times. There's really only a few people that have some kind of stupid like political thing against it that are trying to give it a bad name, and most of the the rumors are pretty much not true. So go to Mare Fair. Mare Fair is a great one. I've never been to TrotCon. I've never been to HarmonyCon. I've never been to Ciderfest. I don't think there's anything really wrong with those off the top of my head. I really didn't like their COVID policies when they had them. I found them, and I quote, retarded, in its clinical definition of unhelpful and even borderline discriminatory. In fact, BabsCon has been explicitly discriminatory. And that gets me into some of the next points this guy was making here. Where was it? Let's see here. Okay, money and time. Yes, if the demand isn't there, I mean, conventions cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to put on. You got to be able to make that investment back in order to even have another year. Political climate. And this, I will reiterate, is the purpose of Brony debates and why we need more than 8 people watching every week here. The political climate shouldn't matter. We are not friends because we may or may not agree on politics. I like having political discussions. I like having deep discussions for the purpose of problem solving and learning more about my friends. Now, I'll explain this again. We are friends because I care about you and because we both have the common ground of pony. And I want to learn more about you and help you with whatever is going on that has you fearful or has you nervous. All of that is irrespective of political opinions. So if your political climate is so toxic that you can't go to a convention that's supposed to be about friendship, you've got a real problem. You need to be able to run the risk of being around people that don't think exactly like you, because all of this attitude here is what's creating the current political climate. You have got to let that go. Fandom drama happens all the time. You've got to learn how to deal with it. Internet culture happens all the time. You've got to learn how to deal with it. And if you are a good person with good intentions, and you surround yourself with good people with good intentions, none of this will be a problem. I've rambled for a while. What do you think, Heather?
I think this person's a little too dependent on fandom being their entire personality. Like, it went like, I get FOMO, fear of missing out. I get that. But suicidal thoughts because you're worried about the state of conventions? I mean, I love conventions, but if conventions disappeared tomorrow, I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't want to end my life because I couldn't go to more conventions. Like, dude, half the reason I go to conventions is because I want to see my friends or I want to be in cosplay. I can do those things without conventions being a thing. What are you doing at conventions that makes you think what you get at a convention you can't find anywhere else in life or anywhere in general? Like, that's being far too dependent and mentally vulnerable. I don't know. This person, like, this is just a rant post. They didn't proofread it. They didn't have a clear, like, train of thought. They just went
I
all
see
over
exactly
the like, they really just will publish anything on here.
I see exactly 2 punctuation marks. I mean, the dude knows what a comment is, but he obviously doesn't know what a run-on sentence is. Pastille, Heather. Pastille. Pastille.
Let's just maybe it's well, I don't know. Even if it's someone who doesn't have English as a first language, this structure just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, long story short, Mr. Christopher, oh, I feel like I've seen this name before, like in my comments section or something like that. So there's a chance he might be watching or might watch in the future. But Mr. Christopher, you'll be fine.
Buddy,
come to Mayor Fair.
Well, buddy, just
I don't know if I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be there, but you can say hi to Heather. I'm sure she'll like that.
Real smooth, Brony. I would say, hey, buddy, hope you're doing okay. Maybe you should work on yourself a little bit. Maybe start with an English class or something and discover some new things about yourself.
Yeah. Let's see the chat real quick here. We don't have 7 equals. I wouldn't say that, Brawny. Most of us don't have disposable income to go to conventions. I can totally understand that. Rusty saying Pastille sounds Hispanic. I'm just pronouncing it how we wrote it, guys. I don't know how to... Yeah, it could also be Italian. You know what's crazy about the Romance languages? French, Italian, Spanish. Italian has a lot in common with Spanish and a lot in common with French, but French does not have very much of anything in common with Spanish. And I find that hilarious. It's like a weird horizontal Venn diagram. Now then, let's see here. Leo Star, I would have loved to meet Bliss in the other shirt, but I don't have the money. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Aventicus saying congrats on the wedding. Aventicus, I'm going to try to get back to you on your story tomorrow. Let's see here. Cosmina said I had suicidal thoughts in middle school, but I'm okay now. Still never a good thing to have them. I agree. Cosmina, just do me a personal favor and never censor yourself again. We hate censorship in this dojo. Let's move on. Can friendship be enforced? Heather, how about you take this one?
Yeah, sure. Let me take a look at this. Can friendship be enforced by Pony Ear Lover?
Okay.
Oh, you're a fan of Adorkable Twilight, I'm assuming, because, yeah, Adorkable Twilight, if you guys are familiar with that fan webcomic that's mostly on X.com or Twitter and Tumblr, She does kind of just think ears are cute, and that's like a thing with her. So I'm hoping you're just a fan of Adorable Twilight and it isn't anything any weirder than that. Anyways, in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series, the Cutie Map serves as a narrative device to summon characters to resolve friendship issues across Equestria. This mechanism raises an ethical question. Can friendship be mandated? In the episode titled The Cutie Map, the main 6 encounter a village where ponies have relinquished their unique cutie marks for identical ones, promoting uniformity over individuality. This scenario suggests that enforcing friendship through conformity can lead to the suppression of personal identities, resulting in a superficial harmony rather than genuine bonds. But why? No, because you know what? I'll tackle that afterward. Philosophically, authentic friendship is characterized by voluntary connections that embrace individual differences. Mandating friendship negates the essence of mutual respect and understanding. The Cutie Map's role in directing characters to address friendship problems implies guidance rather than coercion, highlighting the importance of choice in forming true friendships. Okay, so that wrapped it up good. I was really confused when they're like, okay, we discovered the village, and they said this scenario suggests enforcing friendship through conformity can lead to the suppression of personal identities, resulting in a superficial harmony rather than genuine bonds. I guess I would agree with that because when we go to Starlight's village, sure, everyone got along, but it felt almost like they were just afraid to act out. And like with the thing that Starlight did, like, isolate the main 6 to break them down, that doesn't seem to be the first time she's ever done that. So I wonder how many ponies are there and chose the life, and how many of them were kind of like conformed into it because of the people around them pushing them, and like, because isolating people is actually pretty an inhumane treatment. Like, that's something like,
It's a
and
very
especially if it's like all
common
by themselves.
it's a very common abuse tactic though.
It certainly is. And, that's how they treat some prisoners when they are like, in solitary confinement. If you're just cut off completely from any human contact, that's pretty messed up. Like, the Starlight's village envelops a lot of dark, like, concepts that we didn't really explore, which was probably along the lines of what My Little Pony would do, but something we can think back on as a part of fandom. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, so I guess the main quandary we were faced with this, can friendship be enforced? We can certainly encourage the growth of, like, true friendship and equality throughout Equestria, and the map was a part of that, using like individual traits of particular ponies and dragons in this regard, to quell conflict where it arose using their individual like characteristics. It's very different than like something Starlight would have tried to do when before she was reformed. I guess I'm going with um we can see that this can certainly fail though, because we're not mandating it, we're encouraging it. And if you take Gen 5 as canon, it didn't exactly work out, now did it?
No, Gen 5 is not canon.
Yeah, I think they're retconning it, which cool.
So let's ask this question real quick here. Let's say let's say we have two, tribes. We could say like dragons and yaks, and we did sort of have a comic for dragons and yaks, right? And they get along, and then all of a sudden they start fighting, right? Can you just come in and force them to be friends again? Like, what's that gonna do? Because
is it permanent, and what are the side effects?
yeah, because like if you take Starlight for example, she was brainwashing people, but what if we are taking more like a goodness, I don't really have a name for it, like sort of a 1984. Well, no, because that was closer to Starlight as well, but something like where there's a threat of duress hanging over you being friends with people or you getting along with people. So not even the brainwashing aspect of it or the cult like aspects of it that Starlight had, just straight up, you will be friends or you will go to jail.
It could be like, yeah, it doesn't have to be you will be friends or you go to jail. Like, no, you're gonna get along, because not everyone has to be friends. I don't know if that's something we ever like confronted in My Little Pony Friendships with Magic. Like, you don't have to have people as your enemy, but they do not have to be your friends. Not everybody likes each other. It could be a simple matter of like, hey, yeah, you don't fucking like each other. You're not in agreement right now, but you can't have like this discourse, this chaotic shit going on between you. You can't be fighting and shit like that because it affects the other societies around you in terms of like the dragons and yaks. Like you're making it hard for pony culture, you're making it hard for griffin culture because your problems are leaking out. So you don't have to be friends, but you do have to get along. Like you can't be fighting. So that's not friendship. That's like, tolerance, cooperation.
Let's see here. We've got some good comments in here. Leo Star, why did you just remove the one that you put up there? That was a good one. But Aventicus says, forced friendship is another term for hazing or desperation or being inconceivably dull. Starlight's friendship wasn't friendship. It was subjugation with extreme toxic positivity.
Oh, I hate toxic positivity. It makes me want to punch something.
I know, right? I actually listened to a really interesting video about toxic positivity like a couple of months ago. And it's crazy the psychological cycle that toxic positivity puts you in, because you basically start it trying to make something positive out of a really negative situation. So you start it by denying the reality of things, and you create this cycle of denying reality, but then being forced to confront reality because reality doesn't change regardless of whether or not you believe it. And then, of course, whatever it takes to maintain that facade for yourself just takes more and more effort, and you make yourself more miserable trying to be positive like that. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Alrighty then. Let's see here. We'll move on. What if Pinkie Pie was the villain? All right, by Quarian.
Oh, I love the idea. Oh, Quarian, like the race in Mass Effect.
Okay.
Love it.
Have we met those guys yet?
Yeah, remember Tally, the one with the helmet? She's a Quarian.
Oh, okay. I thought she was something else. I don't remember what I thought she was.
There's a whole bunch of races in the universe, so I wouldn't be surprised if you got a little confused. Here, let me read this one. It has all the signifiers out. What if Pinkie Pie was the villain by Quarian? An alternate universe fan fiction excerpt. In the heart of Ponyville, a shadow loomed over the usually jubilant Sugarcube Corner. Pinkie Pie, known for her infectious laughter and boundless energy, had undergone a transformation that sent ripples through the town. Gone were the days of cheerful parties and surprise celebrations. Pinkie Pie's pranks took a darker turn, causing distress among her friends. Twilight Sparkle noticed the change and confronted Pinkie. Pinkie, what's happening? This isn't like you, Twilight pleaded. With a cold smile, Pinkie replied, Maybe I realized that laughter isn't always the best medicine. The main six faced a challenge unlike any before. Their friend had become the very embodiment of chaos they once stood against. Together they embarked on a journey to rediscover the light within Pinkie's heart, hoping to bring back the joy that once defined her. Could the main six stop this pony? Would it ever be possible to stop a character that breaks the fourth wall like Discord, but it's even more mysterious? I gotta say, did you just literally take a fucking chunk out of like a discussion box just to plug your fan fiction?
It certainly seems that way.
Or is this you pitching it? Be like, hey, is there interest in this fan fiction? Anyone want me to write this? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Pinkie definitely has some like weird cartoon powers, right? Just the universe works differently with her, but from what I have observed through the show, they really only work if she's jovial, if she's representing the element of laughter and things like that. I don't think she can use her frickin', cartoon nonsense when she's all depressed, because we've had 2 episodes that show that she cannot. We had Party of One and we had Yakety Sax. And every other time, if she's playing a joke, she can just do whatever the heck she wants. But all the other times, it's like, no, she's just, just an earth pony. So, I don't see it. I don't see her being able to. Now, the question of what if, that hypothetical we have to deal with there, we'd probably have to use the elements of harmony and turn her into stone.
I think that what if
just be
instead
Discord
of her, like,
again,
being,
wouldn't
because
it?
well, she doesn't exactly have the same abilities as him, but I want to say that, like, what if, so instead of it, because she's still pulling pranks in the scenario that Corian has laid out, so it's not like she's not jovial, it's just taken a dark turn. Like, now she's maniacal, like, like, can she still do the abilities when she's happy, but she's, like, she's sick in the head now, like pulling, like, crazy stuff, like throwing literal spiders at people instead of fake ones. Like, maybe she still has the ability because she's still laughing. She's still embodying laughter, but in a very sick, twisted way.
Like, goodness, what was the name of that one animation? You know which one I'm talking about.
HD?
Yeah, Smile HD.
Yeah, like, she still has the ability. Look at her go. She was happy. Happy with that whole thing.
I guess so. So I guess that's what it would be like if Pinky was a villain. It would just be Smile HD. We've already done this.
Whole fanfic done.
All right, the dark side of immortality. And this is the last one for this thread. Immortality, often perceived as a blessing, carries profound burdens, as exemplified by Princess Celestia, Luna, and Twilight Sparkle. Celestia and Luna have witnessed generations unfold, bearing the weight of countless farewells. The transient nature of mortal lives serves as a constant reminder of their eternal solitude. Twilight Sparkle's ascension to immortality places her on a similar path, destined to outlive her friends and loved ones. This unending existence poses questions about the emotional toll of watching the world change while remaining unchanged. The princess's enduring commitment to Equestria is commendable, yet one must ponder the personal sacrifices entwined with their eternal roles. This is just a writing prompt. In essence, immortality within the realm of Equestria is a double-edged sword, offering infinite time, but at the cost of perpetual loss of solitude. We have seen this trope so many times in other fiction.
I was about to say, like, is anyone else besides me just tired of the immortality conversation? Oh, yes, we live forever. We watch our friends and family die. So sad. I think the thing with immortality is they just get the fuck over it after a while. Like, oh, look, another loved one died. Okay, moving on to making a new one. Like, fucking, I don't care anymore. I'm so sick about talking about, like, oh, the implications of living forever. I don't care anymore. I don't care about living forever anymore. Let's just live forever and not be a bunch of little babies about it, huh? Stop crying. Your mom was gonna die anyway. Get over it.
We did have a comic where, Celestia was talking about this one teacher that helped her found the school for gifted unicorns. And she was, like, really eccentric and nobody understood her. She was really old, like Granny Smith. And Celestia's like, nah, you weren't there when she was, like, a teenager and a young adult, and how freaking crazy and smart and powerful she was, and how she, like, saved Canterlot, and all of that to show that Celestia has a pretty good memory, still makes pretty good connections, and seems to be pretty well adjusted to the concept of immortality.
Yeah, she isn't a pussy.
Yep. Not disconnected, still pretty, down to earth and grounded, which is, really cool and unusual for other media where we have immortal characters. And that does it for this one. Let's move on here. Who do you believe would be a great cop?
So let's go over each of these. Obviously, Rarity would be a great cop because I played her as a cop and it's the best. The fashion police,
that does not count as
best
an argument,
officer.
Heather.
The fashion police has never had a greater soldier than Rarity.
You did like 2 skits with her and nobody watched them.
That's not true. I did way more. I did they're all really short, but I did like 6 of them, but no one was interested in them, so I didn't do more.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's it doesn't count. Not as a point. I don't think any of these characters would make a good police officer.
Really? Not even Applejack?
maybe Applejack, but Applejack, what is it about Applejack that's given me wouldn't make a good cop vibes?
So let me ask you this: how do you think she would confront if she had to arrest Apple Bloom for being like a delinquent? Like she broke in and like did a kid thing, like drank under the age or something. Like how do you think she'd handle that situation?
I could see her letting it slide.
Yeah, that's not good. See, like there you go, nepotism. You're worried about nepotism.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd probably be something she'd learned. Like, no, I'm not helping you by letting you escape punishment or whatever.
Yeah. Fluttershy is not capable of the necessary force. Neither is
she could work with the K9 unit.
I guess so. Rarity would not put herself into a position where there might be direct physical conflict. Mostly at the risk of her own well-being, and the well-being
and her hair.
of her. Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. And the well-being of her mane. Pinky, I do not trust to know the law or to ever bother enforcing anything. Like she'd sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm a cop. That means I get to eat donuts, and just sit there and eat donuts while somebody blows past her freaking hiding spot doing 130 and a 35.
And it was Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash would feel at home on like Super Troopers.
That's also true, but Rainbow Dash more likely than not would A, very easily be bribed, and B, go on a power trip and end up catching a police brutality case. Rainbow Dash would not even know the law well enough. She would just be like, yeah, respect the badge, respect my authority, kind of freaking chick.
Oh yeah, so she's gonna be fucking a little a grown ass Cartman.
Yeah, and then Twilight, I feel like would over-enforce everything to the frickin'
like
letter.
The little ones.
Yeah. And just, she'd be out there writing you tickets if you're doing 36 and a 35.
Ugh.
Yeah, and she'd give you the breathalyzer and all the field sobriety tests. And of course you'll blow a 0 on the breathalyzer, but then, you can't recite the alphabet backwards. So she's going to write you a DUI for that. And why is it a problem if you can't recite the alphabet backwards when she can do it just fine? Because of course she can. None of these would make good cops.
Yeah, I guess none of them. Not a single one. Let's go to the comments. I want to see what people said. They probably said Applejack would be good until they bring Apple Bloom into the station.
So Rusty says, you don't remember Rarity to take down a juvenile dragon? No, I remember Rarity ready to fight a juvenile dragon. I don't think she would have won that fight. She was ready. Good on her for standing on business. I respect that. But she would have gotten bodied, right?
Rarity stands on business.
Yeah, and same thing with that Manicore. Yeah, she threw a good kick, but all that really did was make it mad. And as soon as it roared back and messed up her hair, she realized she was in over her head. Let's see here. Rusty saying Applejack and Twilight would be good cops. The rest are meh. Sunset Shimmer, says Gojillion. What do you think about that, Heather?
Oh, no. Sunset, you know what? Of all people, maybe, Sunset Shimmer. Like, she's disciplined, but she's not overly so, And
she
wouldn't be like Twilight.
She's got very high empathy, so it's like if you're having a problem...
Yeah, like, I've been there.
She's gonna help you solve it. She's not just gonna give you the ticket and tell you to figure it out.
Yeah, I think, you know what? Yeah, Sunset Shimmer could be a cop.
Let's see here. Leo Star, I've seen Flutter Cop. It was not the way you think it was done. I refuse to explain. Okay, the motherfrick you bring it up in the first place, gosh darn it. Also saying, I trust Applejack more than Twilight. With Twilight, I get the sense of RoboCop levels of enforcement. That's what I was talking about. On retrospect, I feel like Applejack would be, would be a laid-back cop. The guy that, pulls you over because you were doing, 45 and a 35. I don't know why I keep using 35 as the standard, speed limit here. She pulls you over and she's just like, I'll let you off with a warning this time. Yeah, I've got, took a note of you. Just, slow the heck down and see you later. Just trying to go about her day and then get home type deal. But
Yeah. Like it's a job.
Yeah. And I guess we know she can wrestle. So if she had to arrest somebody, we know she could do a good hog tie. But I definitely feel like she would be prone to nepotism, and so I got to dock her a lot of points for that. Cosmina saying Rarity would probably just try to design a more fabulous police uniform.
That is what she be.
I have a better idea. Which of the main 6 would you trust as your doctor? Either Fluttershy or Twilight, hands down.
Well, I think Rarity could stitch you up pretty good if you had, a gash.
Medical stitches and fabric stitches are not the same.
No, but I think she could figure it out. I mean, she figured out a hairstyle, and she's not even a freaking hairstylist.
Alrighty then. Let's see here.
She's very transferable.
Let's see what the comments say. Applejack. Sheriff Applejack. Imagine trying to escape from police, Twilight. Not gonna happen. Twilight would be the cop that goes too far and would be the one to actually try to enforce those commonly agreed on unenforced laws. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. But yeah, imagine trying to run from Twilight and she just keeps teleporting to wherever you end up. Like, she hit you with a tracking spell the second she pulled you over.
God, that sucks.
Trick question. Why are you showing us Equestria's best police squad? What the frick? This is the FBI. Not a cop, but Rarity is a great detective. Yes, we have seen that.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Fluttershy would be in the K9 unit, but it's only Angel Bunny.
What did they sniff out? Fucking contraband fucking carrots?
They're Angel searching for your grass, Heather.
Oh no.
Dashy and Pinky would be the best
right away. I have hives.
Good cop, bad cop duo we never knew we needed. You know what? I would watch that episode.
Yeah, it would be awful.
None of them. A-cap. Of course, I was waiting for that one.
No!
They're all too nice to be cops. I can't see them racially profiling or taking bribes.
No!
We have, we have a whole episode dedicated to them racially profiling zebras, and we know
we've grown past that.
We know that at least 2 of them would take bribes, without a doubt.
Depends on what the bribe is.
All right. Trick question. There are no great cops. The police institution exists to defend the private property of the upper class and prevent the exploited working class from interfering with the system too much.
Oh, Jesus. We're really getting into it here.
Yeah, there are none. They would never A-cab. These are very Redditor takes. Thank you, Stoner Dyke.
Oh, really? You don't say. The Reddit opinions on Reddit. None, they aren't pigs.
A true question, because I'm not sure how the socioeconomic status of ponies intersects like being a cop. But, oh, jeez.
Oh, my God.
I'm losing brain cells. Let's move on. All right. You take this one, Heather.
Okay. Discord got an odd view of what supporting his friends mean. And it shows since he'd often test his friends. The Grogar stuff was done with the intent of raising Twilight confidence by having her beat the villain. It was with good intent. The guy expected Twilight to beat the villains, but didn't know they'd backstab him using the bell. He had no idea the trio had it. And there's also how he tried to help Big Mac in his odd Discord way. Since he's the Lord of Chaos, this kind of view from him doesn't surprise me. He's reformed and value friendship, but he still does it in his own Discord way and does get called out when he mess up. What are we trying to discuss here, bunker parody?
I don't know. I can't
Let's see what
see
the
what
comments have to say. Discord got out of you. Yes, are you just saying a thought? Is this just a thought you had?
what 1,000 years in stone does to a Draconequus.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is
Look at this.
anytime Discord was in an episode, he was usually antagonizing Twilight, especially after she got her leadership role. And there was always that lingering question hanging over it of whether or not he was doing it on purpose. Like, oh, you think you're in charge? You think you're a princess? You know, let's see how you handle this situation. You know?
Ugh. Yeah, like, they kind of depart it like he's kind of like trying to be like Celestia and impart wisdom on her, but also have a kick at it at the same time. So at one point, you kind of don't value the lesson he's kind of trying to teach you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, Discord is one of my less liked parts of the show. His humor isn't always in my taste. And a lot of the time, he feels like he just sort of gets away with causing problems on purpose, and people have to just sigh and give him what he wants or go, oh, Discord, you card. I don't know. I never really loved the episodes like Three's a Crowd, What About Discord, or A Matter of Principles. Always feel like a little too, you gotta involve me even if I don't actually want to do it right, or I'll cause problems. Have known too many real people like that, I guess. Also, notoriously, really don't like the Grogar twist or its implications for the characters. I kind of wish Mean Twilight didn't get murked first appearance, so she could at least have masterminded if that were to happen. What do you think about that, Heather?
A lot of ideas were just thrown at me, but I get it. Like, yeah, Discord being the Grogar twist. I can't remember what my initial opinion was of that, but as I think back on it, I was like, I could see how someone could dislike this. Personally, I felt like neutral about it, which should probably say something. If I don't have a strong emotion about it, it probably wasn't good, because when I hate something, God, is it memorable? When I like something, boy, do I love it, and also it's memorable. If I feel like nothing about it, you probably didn't like hit me with anything hard enough.
Yeah. Leo Star says, I have another one in which Brony analyst would Brawny, and he can count himself trust as the elements of harmony. Well, I'm definitely loyalty. I don't know. I don't really have a very high opinion of the other analysts at the moment. So, I'll give well, yeah, you're all right, I guess.
Hey, what about my element?
I'll give Finn the element of kindness. Heather is definitely generosity.
Yeah.
Laughter. Let me think of laughter. That would be Silverquill. So we've got 3. Honesty. I don't trust very many of them, to be honest, actually. I've known them personally for a long time, and I've seen how they handle situations, and there is nothing ever honest about it. They are avoidant to a fault.
Actually, Brony, I thought a long time ago you said your element was honesty.
I go between honesty and loyalty, really. I don't know, which do you think I am?
It's hard to say. I always thought honesty because that's what but maybe more loyalty. Maybe more along loyalty lines.
Yeah, cuz like I definitely like honesty the best, because it's necessary for everything, really. And I have a strong propensity to honesty, but I will confess that I have a capacity for dishonesty. And I can use it if I feel like I have to in a moment. You know what I mean? But it's really hard to give an example of when I would be purposefully dishonest unless it was to, like, you know, turn around and give you your birthday surprise and I was just trying to mislead you away from that. But like, oh, you know what? Here's an example. I lied on my resume to get my current job. Right?
Well, who hasn't?
Yeah, now and here's the thing about it, and here's the thing about that is like you have to ask yourself at the crossroads of your principles, honesty, for example, who are you being honest to and for what purpose? And this is where the gray area sort of come in, right? So like, you know, going back in time here, I got that one job that I was sort of enjoying, but you know, the manager was awful. You know what that you know which one I'm talking about, the one right before this one.
Yeah.
And and then, you know, I lost that job, and I'm looking around for a month and a half, going on 2 months. We're already running out of money. You're living with me, and I see this job application for a job that I know I can do at least short term, or I know that I can learn how to do it. But I know that they're not going to hire me if I just give them my resume as it is. So I buff it up. I'd lie on my resume. I'm like, yeah, I've done this before. I've done this exact thing before. I can tell you all about this thing, right? I might not be honest to my current manager about my qualifications, but my responsibility is to you and to provide for you. And that is my job above all things. And if I am not doing everything it takes, regardless, to do that job, then I am not being honest to you. And I care a lot more about being honest to you, Heather, and being honest to all of my other friends than I care about being honest to this middle manager who doesn't care about me and doesn't care about you and doesn't, you know, and doesn't really care about anything. It makes 2 to 3 times as much as I do. And, you know, we don't really affect each other's lives, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I suppose so, huh?
Yeah, so, you know, but, so I have a capacity for dishonesty, and there are times where I have been dishonest with people in order to serve such a purpose. So I guess in retrospect, I look at myself and I go, I probably can't claim honesty, but I do. I mean, I try to be all of the elements of harmony as much as possible, really. And I have a great respect for all of them. I feel like it's a perfectly balanced system, the elements of harmony. It was genius what Lauren Faust wrote there. But loyalty comes easiest to me. And I don't think I've ever been disloyal to somebody unless they had been severely disloyal to me. And even then, like I'm still on with my family, even though, you know, they've given me some pretty serious betrayals in years past. So yeah, loyalty is definitely where I identify with a lot more. But yeah, so going back to it, I don't think I could trust any of the other analysts to be honest, really. Trying to think in my head here. And then what are we missing? We're missing laughter. We said laughter. So we're missing
magic,
honesty. Well, here's the thing. We only need 2 more, because the 5 of them together make magic. So, we're missing honesty, and we are missing. Oh my gosh, I can't remember anything anymore.
Kindness?
No, kindness was Finn. Laughter was Pinky.
Oh,
Your generosity. I'm loyalty. So that's 4 actually. So we're just missing honesty, and we don't have anybody who's honest. Let's see here. All right, I want to move on. Should we wrap it up here, Heather, and save these last 2 for later?
I think so.
Alrighty then. Yeah, guys, we are cutting the stream a little bit, both of the streams a little bit short here this week, because we don't want to run into Heather's streams, but Heather's going to be on both of these streams with me. So if you look at my channel, you'll notice that we have a Mass Effect stream coming up. So be sure to tune back in here in just a few minutes to watch us play a little bit more Mass Effect before then she goes on to her gaming stream for the rest of the night. So yeah, any closing thoughts, Heather?
I always feel like I've heard everything from the fandom, but then we do one of these and we either rehash something and bring in a little something extra, or we find something completely new. I never really thought to think about, which of the main 6 would make a good cop. But as it turns out, when it comes to ponies, all cops are not ponies.
Yeah. Leo Star saying Firebrand would probably be honesty and Bliss might be magic. Okay, so I've hung out with Firebrand a few times, but I don't really know him well enough to confirm or deny that, so I'll give it to you. But isn't a big part of Bliss's character is that she has a lot of capacity for magic, but 0 knowledge or control over it, so I'm not sure how that works. But I'll save these last 2. Yeah, I'll save these last 2 topics for maybe next week. And we'll say goodnight. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. We hope you had fun. We hope you learned something. Thanks to everybody who supports, especially on the $10 and up levels of Patreon, such as Heather, Shady, Autoknight, Emerald, Senko, DJ, Rain, Billy, Alden, Kanto, Alicia, StarChaser, VentureCorp, Willyzin, Icanus, Vulpecula, Jimmy, Yoshi, Aventicus, and Dark Malcontent. We hope to see you again in a few minutes. And until then, stay